As we continue to look at what love actually is, we come to the concept of jealousy and the fact that love is not jealous. Over in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 4, in the definition of love that we have from Scripture, it says, love is long-suffering, love is kind, love is not jealous. Now, jealousy is wanting something that another person has. So it's not just being resentful or angry at another person's good fortune or their achievements, but a strong desire to actually possess them. And unlike zeal, which is actually an enthusiastic devotion to a cause or a goal that makes someone eager and determined to do something, jealousy takes that type of an attitude and it uses it in a way that actually damages others. Because jealousy is seeking what that person has. So one who is jealous is going to be zealous to obtain what another person has. Jealousy will produce actions that are harmful to others. We see over in Acts chapter 7 and verse 9, the jealousy of Joseph's brothers and the patriarchs, becoming jealous, sold Joseph into Egypt, but God was with him. We also see examples of jealousy within the church in Galatia, where men came down from Jerusalem who sought to make Paul out to be an enemy of the saints in the city of Galatia, so that ultimately they could actually exclude those saints to themselves. This, by the way, is a very common tactic of false teachers, and they seek to usurp a position of authority even today. Galatians chapter 4 and verse 7 says, they jealously court you, but for no good. Yes, they want to exclude you, that you may be zealous for them. Because of jealousy of their father's love, the brothers of Joseph sold him into slavery. Because of jealousy for the saints, false teachers came into Galatia teaching that they had to keep the law in order to be saved, not for the sake of those that they were actually trying to persuade, but so that these false teachers could actually look good before others. And of course, in the end, they wanted these saints to actually follow them and follow them only. Jealousy leads to hurting others. The Jews were also very jealous of Paul when he would preach the gospel of Christ because of the response that he would get. They wanted those people to follow them. So their response was to harm Paul. Jealousy does not belong among the saints. If we don't like what we have, then what we should do is change by growing, by learning, by seeking to fulfill a goal, but not by trying to take what someone else has. Jealousy only leads to calamity, and it never produces what we think it will. I encountered a man a few years ago who was a Bible scholar. He knew scripture very well and even taught it in his seminary. However, because he was jealous of the pastor of the church that ran the seminary and wanted to be the head pastor again, along with actually desiring to be the president, he attempted to usurp the pastor's position by presenting false and unsubstantiated claims against the pastor to the church. Although he did not end up becoming the head pastor of the assembly or the leader of the seminary as he sought, he did cause a lot of harm to many Christians around him. And he was even able to persuade some to follow him, where others, through his actions, were actually scattered to live a life of sin. And this is no joke. He actually did this through his actions because he was jealous. So much destruction because of jealousy. Of course, this individual claimed to be doing this out of love. But true love will never harm another person. True love actually seeks the best for the one loved. So harming another person is in direct contrast to what love actually is. Now, unfortunately, due to the saints who followed him not really understanding what love is, they continue to be negatively impacted by this man who really usurped the position of a pastor. This is neither beneficial for the saints nor for this man. There are those who are actually going to come and try to exclude us for themselves. They want us to only follow them. Rather than earning respect in the position that they would hold within the assembly, they're going to seek to actually take what others have. They will say that they're doing this in love while intentionally doing harm to others, typically behind their backs and in closed door meetings, so that they can actually get the position for themselves. They may remain docile until the right time comes to strike. However, this type of person will seek to remove another person who is in a position of authority so that they can have it based upon false or unsubstantiated claims. And the unsubstantiated claims is the bigger threat because they're going to bring a claim that may sound likely, but there's no evidence to it. And rather than actually demanding that scripture is followed and an accusation against one who is in authority is brought up properly, and if that saint has been found guilty, to seek to restore the saint who has fallen, they are going to seek to take that position of authority. We need to compare the actions of others with what scripture says and determine what is of good value in them. We're not trying to get saints to trip up. We're trying to build each other up. What is this person who's doing this trying to gain from bringing an accusation against a pastor without proper evidence or anyone in a position of authority in the church? What are they trying to gain by doing this? Understanding what true love is in action, not in words, is really important for us. Many will come saying they do things in love, but their actions are completely contrary to what God's quality of love is. And some will say, oh, it's just hard love. But hard love does not do harm to another person. Even hard love is going to hold a person's feet to the fire, but the intent is actually to correct an action that's wrong, to make it so that that person is better in the end, not tear them down. And of course, they're going to do this in a way that we need to be very careful not to fall into a trap and actually respond in an unloving manner. We should be zealous for doing good, doing what is proper, Galatians chapter 4 and verse 18, which will not cause damage to others. But let us never be jealous for what another person actually has. Be content with what God has given you and be happy with what he has given others. And always remember, our jealousy will never bring what we want. It only brings harm and destruction to those around us, because the only thing we're doing with our jealousy is consuming it through the desires of our flesh. Since jealousy is a work of the flesh, when that desire does come up within us, we need to take the way of escape. No, Romans chapter 6, verse 6, reckon, Romans chapter 6, verse 11, and yield, Romans chapter 6 and verse 13. Get our minds focused back on where we should be, Colossians chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, so that we are truly loving God by loving the saints and not allowing a false quality of love to actually mask our jealousy.